Much.
I call Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I take a call on behalf of New Zealand First on the Climate Change New Zealand Superannuation Fund Bill. New Zealand First will support this through the first reading and to give it an opportunity, the light of day, to see what can be drawn from this. We do have some reservations, but we do feel that at least it would be an opportunity to flesh out what the sponsor of this bill is trying to achieve in terms of climate change and the effects of climate change and New Zealand's investments. However, we do have some concerns in that obviously our superannuation fund, we do want to maximise the returns for the superannuation fund, and I certainly am aware myself of comments that were made to me by a person a year or so ago who said that New Zealand already had some significant constraints on its investments around the world because, for instance, they were not permitted to invest in any organisation that in any shape or form had any connections to the nuclear industry. And as a result of that, where sometimes you can have very large organisations involved in all sorts of commercial activities, they might have one very minor, small part of their business which could be infinitesimal, but the mere fact that that might be doing some nuclear sciences research or nuclear investigations of some matter ruled them out completely as being eligible to be invested in with New Zealand superannuation funds. And I can recall this particular gentleman saying to me that New Zealand, as a result, often did not maximise its investments because they had to avoid putting money in some areas where there was even a sniff of any connection with nuclear development or nuclear sciences or nuclear research or anything of that nature. And sometimes, that's not necessarily a bad thing because, as we all know, in many areas of medicine and many areas of sciences, there is nuclear research required with the nuclear sciences for the particular purposes of medicines and medical research. But in this regard, there are concerns, and everyone is increasingly concerned about what is happening with climate change. We have said in this Parliament, however, we do not support some of the radical notions surrounding climate change, which would see New Zealand taxpayers and New Zealand companies paying a lot more money and a lot more in terms of taxes or levies to fund schemes to do with climate change or environmental effects or carbon taxes and all these sorts of things as a result of pollution. We feel that is, again, a negative way of handling the situation, and that New Zealand should be investing its money in actually solving the problems, solving the pollution issues, solving any problems in our own backyard first, and taking levies or taking any taxes to actually put them back into coming up with the remedies here within New Zealand, whether it be in our dairy industry, in our manufacturing, in our forestry industries, in our other polluting type industries. We believe that funding should be going into that, not going into international money go-rounds that end up with people basically making money in foreign markets out of the hard-earned earnings of New Zealand people and New Zealand companies. And in this regard, there are some questions here about climate change in terms of, and it was mentioned, ExxonMobil and all these other organisations who have an effect, but equally so that the list would go on and on and on and on, and where do you stop? And at the same time, every major corporate around the world might have some aspect of their businesses having an effect, but at the same time, we're seeing more and more of these corporations acting as good corporate social responsibility organisations and addressing the issues and trying to reduce their effects on climate change and their effects on pollution. So, Mr Speaker, we're prepared to let this go through for the first reading, hear what the member has to say, hear what is researched from this, find out what the officials can put forward in terms of this, and then we'll take it from there.
I call Todd McLeay.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. The government will be voting against this legislation because we believe it would be